Hey there. So last week, one of my subscribers reached out to me and asked for a one-on-one coaching session for TickTick. And this was the very first time that I've been asked to do something like that, but I was very excited to do it. We did the coaching session last week. I thought it went very well, and so I hope I can do a little bit more of that in the future. But anyways, one of the things that we covered, amongst a few other things, was kind of the main structural organization of TickTick. When you first open up TickTick and it's just a blank screen staring at you, it can be somewhat daunting. You know, it's similar to if you're an author and you open up Word and it's just the blank screen staring back at you. And in some ways, you have writer's block. And I think the same can be true for TickTick. If you're not used to using a task management system and maybe you're new to TickTick and you're not familiar with some of the different ways that TickTick uses to organize your tasks and notes, it can kind of seem confusing. So I thought I'd make a short video on the 4 main organizational structures within TickTick. Those being folders, lists, tasks, and subtasks. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the ways that you can go beyond that, if you need to get more granular or have even more subcategories. Hello, I'm Joshua Best. All right, so I'm coming in here to TickTick. And what I have set up right now is just a blank system. It's a blank TickTick. It's almost as if I just started. I just signed up to TickTick. And now what do I do, right? It can be daunting, like I said, to look at this screen and try to understand the way in which I should try to organize my tasks and my notes and my lists. And so today I'm just going to cover the basics, right? Like I mentioned, folders, lists, tasks, and subtasks, which I believe are the 4 main organizational structures within TickTick. So let's start at the top, a folder. That is the topmost organizational structure within TickTick, in my opinion. And just by looking at the screen here, it's not obvious how you would make a folder, even though that is the topmost organizational structure. You would think that there would be a new folder button or something, but that isn't the case. How you create a new folder is actually hover your mouse over the lists, click plus to add a new list, and within the folder field, here in the middle of the pop-up window, it's a drop-down, and I'm going to select the drop-down, and from there, I pick new folder. And now it prompts me to name the new folder. So this is going to be my uppermost organizational structure of my TickTick system. And so usually it's best to have these as areas of focus. And I think I've mentioned the para method before. I don't use the para method, but I do like the term areas of focus. That makes sense to me. And that also made sense to the subscriber that I was talking to in the one-on-one session. He had some different areas of focus. For example, finances was one of his areas of focus. So we would save that as a folder. While I'm here, I'm going to create some other new folders. So let me create another new folder by selecting from the drop-down and picking new folder. I'm going to create another new folder called Health. And again, I'm going to select a new folder to create a third new folder. And this one I'm going to call Work. And I'm going to create a 4th new folder. And I'm going to call this one Relationships. And then I'm going to exit out of this Add List screen for a minute. So I'm going to hit the X up here at the top. And I'm just going to look at what I've done to my TickTick system at this point. So under the lists, you can see I've created 4 new folders: Relationships, Work, Health, and Finances. And at this point, I don't have any lists. So these are just my folders for my areas of focus. So under each of these folders, we can add subcategories for those areas of focus. And those are going to be our TickTick lists. So for example, let's start with Health. Let me add a new list to the Health folder. And I'm going to call this list Nutrition. And you can see the list name is Nutrition and the folder name is Health because I selected to add a list within the Health folder. And I'm going to leave this as a task list and I'm going to click Save. And so now, if I click the drop down for my health folder, I have a nutrition list. So now let me add a few other lists under my health folder. So I'm going to click Add List. I'm going to call this one Exercise. Again, my folder is Health. I'm going to click the Save button. Add another list under Health, and I'm going to call this one Doctor's Appointments. And click the Save button. So now you can see that I have 3 lists under my Health folder, and these are ways to break out my areas of focus. So I'm breaking out my health area of focus into 3 subcategories: doctor's appointments, exercise, and nutrition. And I'm going to do the same thing for finances. So I'm going to go down to my finances folder. I'm going to click the 3 dots to the right of it. I'm going to select Add List, and I'm going to add a new list called Retirement. My folder is Finances, and I'm going to click Save. Now again, if I click the drop down under my Finances folder, I see my Retirement list. So let me add a few more lists under Finances. All right, so now you can see that I have 3 lists under my Finances folder. And again, I'm just breaking out and breaking up the Finances area of focus into subcategories. So I have Emergency Fund, I have Vacation, and I have Retirement. So those are all three subcategories under my main area of focus of finance. And so now I'm going to go and make tasks within each of these lists. So now let me go up to my health folder and my list of doctor's appointments. And I have a regular doctor's appointment with my primary physician, for example. So I might put that as a task here. Now, I'm not going to get into the details on this video on how to maintain due dates and priorities and the different fields within the task. I want to stick to just talking about how to organize overall and one approach to organization within TickTick. So let me just continue on and make a few more tasks within this list. Let's say I have appointments with a chiropractor. And let's also say that I might have a hip surgery coming up later this year, and I'm going to put that under my doctor's appointments as well. So now I have 3 tasks under my list of doctor's appointments, which is within my health folder. I have hip surgery, I have chiropractor, and I have primary physician. Okay, so now let's say in order to get that hip surgery done, I have to complete a few subtasks underneath that task. So in that case, I would add a subtask to my main task of hip surgery, and I'll do that by right-clicking on the task name and selecting Add Subtask. And so maybe these subtasks are meet with primary physician about hip. Maybe it's get an MRI, schedule surgery, etc. And so these are now subtasks under the main task. So at this point, we've covered the 4 main organizational structures within TickTick. We started with the folder, and let me just collapse this for a minute. So we started with the folders, which we called areas of focus. Underneath the folders, we had different lists, which were subcategories of those areas of focus. Within each list, we have tasks. And under a task can be a subtask. So those, in my opinion, are the 4 main organizational structures within TickTick. And if you're new to TickTick, I think by using those 4 organizational structures, you'll go a long way in kind of getting yourself organized within TickTick. Now, that isn't the extent of how you can organize within TickTick. Some of the things we didn't cover today, which are available within TickTick, is you can make subtasks on your subtasks. So if you need to go even more granular than subtasks, you can create additional subtasks under those subtasks. And again, you can go 5 levels deep with tasks. So that is going to be a primary way to organize within TickTick. Some other ways to organize are tags. And also you can add sections within lists. Now, I don't usually recommend sections within lists because it's not very easy to search or to filter with the sections. It's easier to filter by lists, tasks, and tags. So those are going to be the three main ways to search and filter. So you're going to want to stick to, one of those. Unless, of course, you're using the Kanban view, and then you would probably use sections. But again, I'm not covering all that today. I mainly just wanted to describe one way to organize TickTick, especially if you're new to TickTick and you're looking at a blank screen. This is one approach. Obviously not the only approach, but I do think that this approach works well. And let me know in the comments what you think of this approach. And also let me know in the comments if you have a different approach that might be good for a new TickTick user. What would you suggest? Well, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.